My 2-minute conviction today is that generosity is less about how much you give and more about the sacrifice that you make. I was just with a young entrepreneur yesterday, coaching him through some steps in his business, and he was telling me already that he is determined to give a portion of his business profits away every quarter. And this is a young guy who is just starting out. And I was so impressed that he wanted generosity to be one of the values in the culture of his business. If you went to a charity night and you saw two people write checks, one wrote a check for $100 and the other wrote a check for $100 million, you would be so enamored. If you're like me, you would be so impressed with the big check. You'd be like, wow, that guy is amazing. That person is so generous. You know, look at all the zeros backing up that number. And you'd be inclined to believe that they had made an enormous sacrifice. But if you learned after the fact that the person who gave $100 was otherwise neck deep in debt, they had lost their job, they couldn't barely afford their rental, they were having trouble putting food on the table for their kids, but they so believed in your cause that they were prepared to pay a high price and give the last $100 in their wallet. And the person who gave 100 million was a billionaire. And so whilst it was a big sum to give, it didn't impact their lifestyle one little bit. Then you would get an appreciation of this idea that generosity is less about how much you give and more about the sacrifice that you make. Jesus tells a story just like this in the Bible where he talks about the woman who puts just a few cents into the collection tin, and that's all she had. And so I just want to encourage you and remind myself that generosity is a posture of the heart. It's this sense of wanting to make sure that we don't confuse how much we give with why we're giving it, and the attitude and the motivation of our heart, and in particular the price we're willing to pay, the sacrifice it costs us to bless other people and help them when we have more than enough. I hope you have a great week as you and I both keep practicing generosity.